12 minutes to 10. The head of a local building firm has accused the media of constantly talking down the property market as property prices continue to struggle. David Law from the WJ Law Group says most media outlets were unfairly broadcasting messages of gloom and doom, which have caused a crisis of confidence. He's with us now. Good morning to you.
Morning, Stephen. How you doing?
Well, so you're blaming us, are you?
Well, how do you follow fantasising about your love life? I find it hard to sit still here. But yes, the issue I wish to address is that it's hard for good news to make the news. And we're delighted about the year that we've had. We've sold some 90 homes this year, Stephen, compared to less than 10 last year, which was tough, as you might expect. So there's good news there, and
the homes that you've sold,
coming out.
The 90 homes that you've sold this year, how much cheaper are they than last year?
A lot, Stephen. Yeah, prices have dropped some close to 35% in Northern Ireland, considerably more than the rest of the UK. And but for the last 2 quarters, they've been rising. Our homes, I'm happy to tell our buyers when we come on a Saturday, are going up. And I think that's excellent news that I'm happy to share.
So it sounds like a fire sale, does it not? That if you're having to sell property 35% cheaper than last year, you're
that's
having,
right. I mean, remember where we were with
you're having to give them away.
Global Lehman-style credit meltdown. House price in Northern Ireland didn't cause Lehman's to fall. It's a symptom. And we and other volume builders had to sell our stock, as everybody else in the country who wished to move for divorce reasons or goodness knows what. That situation's passed. We launched a new site in January of this year. We're launching another site in January of 2010. And we've had excellent sales at realistic levels. And I'm happy to say that they're growing ever so slightly. And that's reflected in the Northern Ireland House Price Index, the Nationwide Price Index, the Halifax Price Index, all saying the same story, that houses across the UK are up some 7,000 from the nadir, which was about March, April.
But the question is this, David, why should anyone buy a property now and not instead hold out for another 12 months to see if they're going to plummet even more?
Well, they're going up, and that's reflected in all the evidence that I just mentioned. People can, of course. There's a strange dichotomy where you can rent a home. I can think of a few examples. You can rent a home for £400 or £500 in Bangor and buy the same home for £300. So that situation is becoming ever more apparent, and confidence returns. The biggest problem is the availability of credit, whether you're in business or indeed a house buyer. So deposits are bigger, and it's just that bit harder to get on the ladder. So as confidence increases and as credit becomes more available, that situation will increase.
But your gripe this morning, David, is that the media has been unfairly broadcasting news. What do you mean by that?
Well, over the last year, we've had difficult situations with people losing their jobs, particularly in the construction sector, and it's quite easy to lead with stories and television programs that you've been involved with about on the brink and people losing their homes, and they're difficult stories, and they're if it bleeds, it leads type story, and it's difficult to get good news in the news, and I'm happy to be given that opportunity today.
Jonathan Davis joining us, the Chartered Financial Planner, Jonathan Davis, who's been a doom and gloom merchant for quite a long time now. Jonathan, good morning to you.
Morning, Stephen.
You love how you love how I describe you, don't you? A doom and gloom merchant. Is there more gloom on the way, Jonathan?
Well, yes. We already know taxes are on the way up. We already know public spending is on the way down. Interest rates cannot go any lower, so they have to go higher in due course. Unemployment's still rising and will continue for some while. So absolutely, is it okay if I pick up a couple of the points from the developer there? He's saying that you can buy a house for £300 a month. Well, I've just done a quick calculation. That broadly means a £50,000 mortgage. Now, I don't know where you can buy a property with a £50,000 mortgage unless perhaps you put down £50,000 deposit. Now, there aren't that many people who got £50,000 in cash. The other point he said was that the house price crash in Northern Ireland didn't create the crash of Lehman Brothers. In other words, the biggest financial collapse in history. Well, actually, he's absolutely wrong. in a sense, the house price crash did cause the banking collapse because the banks had grown massively based upon mortgage-backed securities. And when house prices fell, naturally, these mortgage-backed securities went down the pan. That's why we have literally lost globally trillions of dollars of assets. So, yes, there's more pain to come. To say that the media doesn't let good news on is absolute arrant nonsense. Right through the bubble in 2005, 6 and 7, all you had was wall-to-wall television, radio and press porn, as we call it. 8 p.m. on every single evening, 50 hours a week. Buy property. You cannot lose with property. Well, clearly, we saw what happened. And right through the crash last year, I tell you, people like me who were saying there were problems from before it happened and through the problems, we were still being looked up as if we were from outer space, as if we were weird. Well, no, he's wrong. Any estate agent or developer or banker or politician who says something good about house prices, it's immediately on the front pages.
David Law?
Thanks, Stephen. I'm not sure what Chicken Little over there has to offer, but the sky hasn't fallen, and house prices are growing, and I'm very pleased to be given the opportunity to make that message on with the various indexes, and indeed our own. There's nothing better than our own situation. I repeat, there's 90 sold this year compared to 10 last year, and there's ever more confidence coming back in the market. January, February are traditionally our best times for selling, and I'm very much looking forward to the new year with the launch of a new scheme. And
you're talking the market up, David, aren't you? You're doing what you've got to do. You're talking the market up.
Of course, I have a vested interest. Absolutely, we've got employment, jobs to give, and we've got houses to provide because there's a need. There's a housing need. It's what people wish to have. They wish to have their own home to live in, and we're trying to help deliver that at prices that people, frankly, can afford now. And we're, as I say, we're delighted with the progress that's happened recently, and I see it continuing.
Tell me this, David. As a major local building firm, are the banks doing enough in Northern Ireland? Are they lending enough to let's just leave the
mortgage providers in Northern Ireland.
Let's just leave the mortgage providers for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean to property investors. To building firms who find themselves in trouble now. Are the banks standing by decent firms enough, or are they pulling out too quickly?
Yes, they are. Yes, they have to. They don't wish to have the losses. There's a requirement to build out. There is a market for homes, and by building them out, the land value can be recouped to a greater or lesser extent. It depends what it was bought for. But there is a market for the product. There's a market for the homes. There's frankly no great market for land to be sold, but the prices of the homes are moving. There is a market, and thereby the banks can...
Okay. Final word to you, Jonathan Davis.
We know that bank lending to small, medium-sized companies and to private households is still falling. And although the British Bankers Association tell us that bank lending is staying static, actually the bulk of it is going to very large international companies. People still need significant deposits to get mortgages. They need an absolute AAA rated, gilt-edged credit history. If they've missed one payment on their mobile phone, they're not going to get that mortgage and all that kind of stuff.
All right, we've got to leave it there. Jonathan, thank you very much, and to you, David. Lovely to talk to you both this morning. So that's an assessment of the state of the housing market.